Hi everybody, bonjour tout le monde, welcome to Capital JB Comics. I'm JB and welcome to A Woman's Point of View. This is the second video in this segment. In this video, we will have two special young ladies talk about their point of view in what is going on in our mediums, in comics, media, in movies, etc. So I can't wait to hear what they have to say. Next time you'll see me, I will have them here on the couch to let us know their point of view about what is going on. So let's roll the intro so we can get started. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Welcome back everybody, this is Capital JB and these are my guests. First off with you please.
So I'm Kristen, I am a third-year journalism student at Carleton.
And I'm Cyndia. I'm also a third-year student, but at the University of Ottawa, and I'm in communications and women's studies.
So what does that mean to be in women's studies?
So it's a particular genre where we focus on gender studies, is specifically women's studies, and how feminist theories come into place in the world, society, also in academics.
Okay, so would you say that you are a feminist?
Yes, absolutely. I proudly identify myself as a feminist, yeah.
What about you, Kristen?
I also identify with the feminist. I think we've been to 2 women's marches.
Yeah.
So.
And we try to participate as much as we can as in events and be allies and yeah.
Awesome. So what does that mean to be a feminist to you?
So to me, being a feminist is just proning to have gender identity and equality and equity for all genders, and just having women on the same platform as men and others, and making sure that our needs are met and that we attack rape culture and all these important things that are bringing women down in society, and just address that.
What about you?
So to add to that, for me it's like representing not like a specific type of woman, but like all types of women, like LGBT women, women of color, women with disabilities. It's not just like one specific type of woman. I realize that there is all types of women.
And even at a young age, like girls are already discouraged to go into sciences and politics because they know because they know that it's such a male-dominated field. But at the same time, like that's why we need to encourage them and just be like, and have role models in those fields and just be like, no, they did it, you can also do it. And obviously there's some barriers that everyone faces, but then just trying to reinforce them, empower them, like that's very important.
Yeah, I think like the oldest memory I have of that is when I was in like 2nd grade or something, and it was like, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? And all the guys were like, oh, I want to be like an astronaut, like the president, blah, blah, blah. And then all the girls were like, oh, I don't know. Like everyone was kind of scared to say what they wanted to do. And I think like as a younger generation, like we shouldn't be intimidated by those like leading roles and those leading like careers, because we have as much as a shot as anyone else has.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
Awesome. So I don't know if you guys know this, but you probably do, but Captain Marvel is coming out on March 8th. It's a big feminist push. Brie Larson, the main actress, and she's not attacking, but it seems like she is attacking white men. And white men are speaking out because they feel attacked and they feel villainized. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's amazing what Brie Larson is doing, because it's really important to use your platform. Like, she's a celebrity, use your platform and speak out about injustices or just speak out about women's issues. And I think the fact that the white men are being offended is a little over the top, because I think she's just using her platform to do well and finally have representation in the movie industry and as a woman, and she's recognizing that, and I think that's a huge step. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that like if you think about the film industry, the comic industry, it's mostly white men in power, right? So like her speaking out about it, it's calling them out, but also speaking for the people that think the same as her. Like, hey, we want representation. I don't care what you have to say. Like, you're mostly in power, so I think her speaking out is like a really good thing, and hopefully people can do the same in other industries, not only
Awesome.
film.
So before this whole thing started, predictions for like opening weekend was like around 160 million. So ever since this whole like drama with her versus white men, now it like had dropped to like around 80 to 100 million. What does that say about where society is as a whole?
I think that's actually really sad because, well, I know that like comics and superheroes is mostly like male consumed, but I think that men should be allies because we're seeing like the movie industry like having more women as lead roles, and I think that's amazing, and they should support that as well because it's important for younger girls to see that kind of representation on the TV screens. And even for me, like I'm 21, but I love to see that on screen, and it just goes to show like we can all have that dream at any age, and just I think it kind of sucks that they're doing that.
Yeah, I think it's super sad that people are offended that one woman spoke out her truth, and then now all of a sudden people are like, oh no, like absolutely not.
It's like boycotting.
Yeah, it is
They
boycotting,
are.
and it's like, are you really gonna stop watching something just because one woman spoke out and she was honest about her truth and speaking for other women? It's like, well, are you really gonna give up on something just because one person spoke out? I think it's...
And I think that goes like against like what gender equality is, right? We're supposed to all be supporting each other, and it's going completely against that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and it's not like this is like a shock to everyone, like, oh, one woman's the lead, like, everyone freak out. It's like, I think it has happened gradually, and I think now that this movie's coming out, everyone's kind of like shocked about it, and some people are even butthurt about it. So I think it's just like, adapt. It's a thing. Just like get used to it.
And it could be just as great as your Superman or your Batman type of movies, right? These prominent female characters have important backstories, and they should be represented. So why not have a female lead character? I think there's a lot of focus on like the gender of it all, but also it's just like, no, they're amazing characters. They should just have their own story. Why not?
One other thing that they are saying is that she's not charismatic enough. She's not like joyful enough. She looks mean. She looks depressed. Like, what do they expect? How would Marvel make them happy? Like, what does that mean? The perfect Brie Larson.
But I think that's kind of offensive because like as women we don't always have to be happy, and like that's not realistic. We go through different emotions. Yeah, like
Batman's
just like
always like brooding, right? And like no one ever says anything. No one
at
ever
all.
says, this guy is so emo. Like no one ever says anything.
I don't think I've ever seen like Bruce Wayne like smile.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
He never says anything. He never like smiles. He never jokes around. He's always brooding and mad about something.
Yeah.
And I think like what I've noticed like with movies, like when women are represented, they're always in those like stereotypical categories or roles, and like they're either like, oh, very sexualized and like promiscuous, or like, oh, there's like the ice queen and she just has no heart and she's a go-getter. But like those things don't need to like interact. We can just be individuals and feel the way we do. So I
agree. That was a really good answer. I think that like in film there's this thing called like the male gaze, in which women are supposed to be in film, and I think it's not every woman that's like the girl next door, like super happy, super like, you know, in every type of like charity work. Like women have different emotions, and I think that's supposed to be depicted on screen because, you know, we're not all happy all the time, just like men are, like you said in Batman. You don't see him like skipping down the street and like, you know, rainbows and sunshines everywhere.
Like, if so, just get a robot.
Yeah.
One comment that Brie Larson said is, why would I care what 45-year-old white male thinks? And as a man, no, as a male, I agree. Like, this is not about us. This is not about like if you're 30 and up, like this is not about you. Like this is about the next gen. Like my generation is always going to go see these films.
Yeah.
Like that's what I grew up with, right? So I'm going to be there like even like twice, you know, like,
I love that.
like, you know, like at least twice.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? But I feel these men that are 30 and up feel that she's specifically talking to them.
Yeah,
Like,
they feel threatened.
I'm like, do you have skeletons in your closet, bro? Like, what is
good
wrong?
point.
What have you done to be so offended?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? If you're a good person, then fine. Then you're okay, cool. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I think both those men like are feeling threatened. I think they're feeling threatened for like the movie industry, thinking like, oh well, all of these movies are just gonna be like super feminist now, and like, oh, we won't get to see those girls with big boobs out, like, you
Maybe
know.
that's true. Yeah.
You know, so I have a feeling that they're kind of scared of like the direction that comics, movies are going. But I think personally, it's a good direction because those 30+ men also have daughters and like sisters and wives, and it's just like, why would you want like people to be represented that way? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that like generational content can't always be repeated because the next generation is coming and it is very different, and I think it's important to change the narrative in that, because if we just keep seeing the same things, then people are gonna like keep thinking the same way.
And I think there's like a lack of balance. That's the problem, because like TV shows, movies, it's mostly white. So that's the problem. It's just like if there was more of a balance, more inclusion, representation, then you shouldn't have to fill a quota, you know, it should just come naturally, where it's just like we live in a diverse society, so that should be represented on the screen.
And I think like when you're talking about that, it made me think of like Halloween, and when kids are picking out like Halloween costumes, there's not a variety of like, you know, like princesses of color or like superheroes of color. Like I remember when I was a kid, I was dressed as like Snow White and I went to school and everyone was like, what are you supposed to be? Like, I don't understand your costume. And I bought the super overpriced like dress and everything, and everyone was like, don't know what you are.
So let's move on to the second part of this video, where I have 10 books and you guys need to guess what artist it is, like which male or female.
Okay.
Okay?